Hello, Dave. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
So I saw it was actually on YouTube, a interview of you by a TV channel talking about your student radio station.
That's right. I'm very happy to announce that we now have finally, after what, 4 years of planning or trying, we actually have a real ham radio station at the University of Scranton. And it's absolutely beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was a very good little story showing what it looked like and talked to you and several of the students.
hmm And Steve Serwin even came
Yes,
up to visit from Texas.
yes,
So, and yeah, so it was great. I didn't even plan it out this way, but I had planned to have Steve Serwin come up and do a project regarding the eclipse with one of my classes, my digital signal processing class. And then it just turned out that they were going to do the crane work on the same day he was there. So I then also invited up Bob McGuire and a few other people, and they all came up for the day. And 7 a.m. the crane was up there, and they put the Roan 45 tower on the building, and then the DX Engineering Skyhawk. And about 3:30 in the afternoon, we got a call from the antenna guy. He said, "You want to make the first ceremonial QSOs?" So I texted some of my students. I said, "Try to round up as many students as you can." And we all went up to the shack, and Steve Serwin's friend Paul N5DUP was on the other end over in Texas, and we made all these 20
well,
meter QSOs, and it was fantastic.
that's good. What is the height of that antenna
um,
above the ground? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, probably 75 or 100 feet.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have a 5-story academic building, and it's a good sized building, and then it's 40 feet on top of that. So
Well,
it's pretty
very good.
substantial.
Other things you want to mention?
Yes. I put in the NSF program officer contacted me and said that the she's planning on recommending the HamSci workshop grant for funding. So that's
Good.
really good. But she also said, "Oh, and by the way, in order for me to fund this, you have to have all of your annual reports in that are due." And 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 they are relentless with these annual reports. What they do is
Yes.
they say, so the annual report, they actually make it due 3 months before the end of the year, and then every month, the first of every month for those 3 months, they say this report is due now. And then when it's actually on the year's anniversary, then they start sending you emails saying that now it's overdue.
Oh,
So but she actually wants all the ones that are due now. So I need to get the one for this grape cedar one in. And if I don't get that in, then I can't get the funding for the Hamsci workshop. And
yeah.
one of the other things they want is, since we're doing citizen science, they want, some um proof that I we actually have many people working on these projects. So there's I put together a survey this year, which I just sent out over the HamSci listserv, that asks if you've been helping out on any HamSci projects, if you would fill out this survey. And, just to do it to the best of your ability. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you can't, just estimate things. But if people could do that, fill out that survey, and I'd share this, with the NSF and ARDC and NASA and whoever those other agencies that need it. That would greatly help me out in completing these
You,
reports I have to write.
Yeah.
you have
So
sent it out?
I just sent it out moments ago, and
When are these reports due that you would like them back from us?
I would like this back by the end of the week, because they said they basically said, "Can you get your report in by the end of the week or a week from now?" So if you can, as I said, just do the best you can with it. And it doesn't have to be totally complete or perfect, but if I get some response from everyone as soon as possible, that would be really helpful. I can put the survey link in the chat too.
Okay.
And I guess other things, we are let's see, I made the final corrections to the Frontiers paper last week, and I got it down so there were only 5 things I wanted corrected this round. So I approved the proof. So hopefully that means I will actually receive the final published version, which should come out very soon. So that's exciting. And then Gareth and I are heading down to Leesburg, Virginia, on Wednesday through Friday, and we're going to be at the NASA Science Activation SciAct conference. We'll be talking about the HamSci project. And yes, Jonathan, you can fill that out too if you would, please. So I think that's everything I can think of for the moment.
Okay. Next on the list is Dave, KD0EAG. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, hello. Yes, I have had a lot of distractions just lately, but I think they're coming under control, and things are moving along. So I hope to show some progress on several fronts soon. And that's it from me.
Okay. Mike just had a bunch of balloons for you, Dave.
Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Michael, AAAK. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, thank you very much. Greetings to everyone, and back to you, Dave.
Okay. And next we have Bob in 5BRG. Go ahead, Bob.
Hello, everybody. I'm busily working on transferring files up into the server and making some progress doing that. And back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is David in 1HAC. Go ahead, David.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're kind of busy right now, end of term, getting some AM Doppler stuff going, including software software changes, let's call it that. I call it a problem. Our IT guys calls it security.
Or opportunities.
Yes. Well, trying to deny certain outside entities opportunities anyway.
Yeah.
But gets in the way of all of us. But anyway, and we're beginning to get snow here, so I think it might be turning to winter, but we'll see. It is November. As I like to say, here in New England, we get 2 seasons, they just alternate at times. Back to net.
Very good. Okay, next on the list is Franco, K4VZ. Go ahead, Franco.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. What I did is a few weeks ago, I remember you, Nathaniel, mentioned this Red Pitaya, the new, and David McGuire was working. So I found there is a Chinese clone called the TRX Duo, which is similar. And since this week they have all these good deals, I bought one of them. They use an FPGA as to ADC to DAC and so on. So I'm curious to see, especially because Glenn Elmore too is working on that. So it should be interesting. So I think I start playing with FPGAs and see how it goes, and then get back to you guys how it goes. Back to you, Dave.
Very good. Yes, I have a couple of Red Battalions, so the original ones. Anyway,
PSA, by the way, if anyone is going to buy an RX-888 this week, they have on AliExpress this big deal, so you can save probably $10-20 on an RX-888. So that's
Okay.
another good thing to do.
thank you for that. Next on the list is Gary, AF8A. Go ahead, Gary.
Good evening, everyone. Just reading the mail tonight, Dave. I'll turn it back to Net.
Okay. Next would be Jay, WB8 SBI. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, hi there, everybody. Gary, was it you that said last week at the SEQP meeting on Thursday that there was a grace period to turn in logs?
I thought there was. I discussed that with Bruce Horn, but it looks like we got a hard deadline of it November 11th for the website.
Because I tried to do it a few minutes ago and it wouldn't. Can I send the log directly to you?
Yes, absolutely.
What's your email? AF8A@ARL?
You got it.
All right, I'm going to send you both the Cabrillo and the ADI versions. So
Okay.
yeah, okay, F8A@ARL. Okay, that's all I had. Well, no, Nathaniel, I logged on to the forms that link that you sent, and so I'm filling that out now. It asked for what papers and everything. Does that Frontier form, that Frontier project, does that I assume that counts toward on the form?
Yeah, if you notice on the form, I said any papers that you have led or been first author of, because I really don't need people sending me the Frontiers paper 50 times.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I know about it. If there's a paper that you co-authored that you don't think I know about it, feel free to put it in there. But I'm basically just trying to get papers that I don't know about.
Okay. Yeah. So in this case, and for several of the questions here, they would either be none or NA in my case.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That clarifies it. All right. Working on it now. Okay. Thank you. You look a little cold down there, Nathaniel. Is the heater broken or something?
No, it got down to 22 last night actually. It's sufficiently warm in here, but normally I'm in my office, but Rachel wasn't feeling so well today, so I've been kind of watching Anthony, and he's just he fell asleep on the couch up there.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of hanging out in the living room today.
Okay. Take care, everybody. 7-3 to all. I'll just be reading the mail here for the remainder of the net. Take care. Back to net control.
Okay. Next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EY. Go ahead, Jonathan. Jonathan, you're muted.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. It's been quite a busy week. I just wanted to thank Nathaniel for including me in the very first day, in the first contact of the W3 USR amateur station. I was the co-signer on the license form, so technically Nathaniel and I we were kind of the beginning, very beginning with the license form, and I'm very happy that Nathaniel was able to get it to this point. It actually makes me very proud. It's a really beautiful station. The performance, the noise level was much better than I expected, and students were easily able to make contact. So I think this will be a very, very good thing for the university. Also, I was working with Nathaniel and Steve Serwin on some noise mitigation at Nathaniel's house. turns out that the VLF system, thankfully, is not an emitter of any sorts of noise emissions that could cause any impacts on other stuff. And I made sure to shield everything and design it so noise would be at the very minimum. Even the power supply that I used to power the whole thing is a unregulated wall wart. Nothing switching except for the two DC to DC converters. But we found out that it was a light fixture that were the biggest emitter of noise. There were also some other light fixtures. That I was able to use my portable VLF receiver to find. So actually, portable VLF receivers are excellent tools to find what's emitting noise. We also found that the power supply of the Kiwi SDR was emitting this very high-pitched whine on the VLF receiver. So that was also another thing that I found, because I initially detected it on the antenna cable. And also another very cool thing that happened. NML, one of the Navy's VLF stations, came online this week. It's been offline since May, and this is a phase and amplitude plot. You could see that it comes online about 1830 UT, and yeah, this is the first day, and it has been steadily increasing power, which is good, because this means that this is really good for the eclipse, and I was actually I'm actually really looking forward to using NML. You could see this is the next day. This gap in the data is because the VLF system was turned off during the noise mitigation exercise. You could see an increase in power at 20 UT. So she's singing really loudly, which is really good, because NML is a really good resource. Even today there was a nice also a little increase in power. You could see at 19 UT there was another further increase. So this is really nice. So this means that hopefully, if this stays online, and hopefully that it will, this is going to be another really good resource for the eclipse. And so not only will we have NAA, we'll have NAU and also NML, which is really nice. NLK, Jim Creek is a little too far, and the signal strength isn't really the best. But this is pretty strong, so I'm really happy about this. That's all I have. Back to
Okay.
Jonathan, where is NML? You might let people know where these stations are.
North Dakota.
Very good. Okay, next on the list is Michael, AC0G. Go ahead, Michael.
Good evening, everybody. Not too much to report here. I've got magnetometer data just steadily churning out and 5 megahertz WWV data in Grape 1 format, not digital DF format, but the regular FL Digi stuff. I'm waiting on delivery of another RX888 and inspired by Franco's email, I did order a TRX Duo, so I'm waiting on arrival of that. Back to net.
Okay, very good. And I'm gonna skip over Rob for a second and get Tom. N5EG. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, good evening, Dave and everyone in the group. Too many outside errands to do much on the project. I got thermal modifications done to my RX888, and it seems to be running a bit cooler. And I've started the prep work for the next video. So I've got a couple of tutorial examples for HF, and we'll get started recording those and hopefully get those up here fairly soon. Back to the group.
Very good. Thanks for doing that. So next on the list, we have Rob, AI6VN. And are you still in Hawaii?
No, I'm not actually. I'm unexpectedly had to come back. My wife Sandy last Thursday afternoon slipped and kind of dove down our stairway, and so fortunately she no serious injuries, but she seriously scraped up. So I got on the plane, of course, and came back immediately. So she's recovering well. It's kind of painful and uncomfortable, but not in no way life-threatening. So that brought me back, although from Maui. So I'm in here. So the as a result, I haven't done a whole lot ham-wise. I did spend some time over the weekend and refine the Whisper Demons installation and configuration of the K9Q, and mostly RX888 installation and configuration. So it should be pretty. I'm testing it. I have about, I don't know, 8 sites now where I've tested it, the installation and operation. So it's more refined than it has been in the past. I've worked with John Ackerman to bring him up. So his site will be perfect, right on the path of the April totality. So we'll have a site there that'll not only do whisper decoding, but also do all the time stations. We could, anyway, a whole bunch of stuff. So that's great. And I'm going to ship him one of the beacon blasters, and he can transmit from his home during the. Okay. So we should have transmitter and receiver both GPS disciplined. So that's my major activities, just kind of cleanup stage of Whisper Demon software. Let's see what other. I don't remember anything else that would be of relevance to the group. But so I'll send it back to you guys, and maybe we'll have a further discussion.
Okay. Yes. I wanted to report. Franco said that Phil Karn showed up and made a comment. Did you remember what he said, Franco?
What do you mean?
I think that was me.
Oh, was that you,
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Just that he has so often he has a conflict with another meeting. He was going to try and get back and pop into this, but he wasn't sure whether he'd be able to.
Okay. Just thought I'd report that for the recording. So
Oh, yeah.
I think that's everybody on the list. I haven't missed anybody. So we're open for general discussion.
I have a question for Rob about the beacon blaster. The
Yes.
version 6 that is described online, is that the latest version? Is it GPSDO stabilizable, and is it the one that you would suggest employing?
It is the latest version. I don't think that Paul is going to make any more of those, because he's just sent off the JLPCB, the newest, the Beacon Blaster 8, which is a single board implementation. So there's an additional 2 channels, and the whole thing is fabricated and populated by JLPCB. So it'll be much easier for him to have manufactured and sold. And of course, you get 2 extra bands. One thing that has changed with it, and I think an important development, is that Paul has also implemented Whisper 2 transmission mode, and added 6 meters as an option. So the Beacon Blaster can transmit in Whisper packets, and up from, well, you could do 2,200 meters. You could do almost anything, limited by his output transformer. But anyway, up through 6 meters. So, and I think that the version 8 is likely to be available well before the April eclipse. I have 3 of his Beacon Blaster 6s, and I think I have John Ackerman as one candidate. I forget, someone here mentioned they might take one and transmit during April. I'm kind of looking for someone who would host the Beacon Blaster, who'd be down in the Texas region, so that we'd have 3 of these. They are GPS disciplined. In fact, the Beacon Blaster 6 and the 8 as well it has its own GPS receiver section, but only uses it to determine the transmit start time. To discipline the transmitter, you need a 10 megahertz GPS DSO disciplined signal. So it's hopefully John Ackerman's GERT will become available. So that would be one option. An alternative, of course, is to feed it with a Bogner, and that's how I've been done it. The units I have Bogners feeding them. He actually has a loopback port, so you can put one antenna, GPS antenna, into the Beacon Blaster. It loops back the GPS RF into your GPS DO, and then the DO's 10 megahertz output goes into back into the Beacon Blaster. So it's extremely easy to set up. I mean, you can be up and on air. There's no necessarily there's no configuration required of it, and you just plug it in and it runs. It consumes like 9 watts, 10 watts for 6 channels, so it'll be a little more than 10 watts for 8 channels. And there's a separate unit, which is the combiner unit. It's a filter combiner. He has a 6-channel combiner unit, so he can take 6 of the output and put them together and feed it to one antenna. So that's how I ran it, and in the installations I set up. Simplifies.
I have 2 ways to potentially feed such a thing. One is with a T3FD, so it's terminated, and it actually presents then a 50 ohm impedance across the board, 200 feet long. And then I have another one, which is a vertical antenna, the Comet CHA, I can't remember the name of it, 209 or something, which is also terminated and presents a 50 ohm impedance. Either way, I'm in Missouri, not Texas, so whether
you're a candidate, so I would like to find someone in Texas for the 6 I have, the BB6 I have. So that would be best. But in general, it's not, the beacon blaster is useful not just for the eclipse, but in general. If we can deploy more of them, we will be getting Doppler shift data. These are micro WWV transmitters. So I
Hey,
have,
Rob,
yes.
have you considered asking Steve Serwin if he either wants to host it or have one of his friends host it?
No, I don't know Steve, so
Steve,
I know he's a member of the group.
Yeah, he's located in Mico, Texas, which is very conveniently one of the places where both eclipses pass over.
Okay. Well, that's I'll send Steve a note and see if he'd be interested. Ideally, I'd find one site that would host the beacon blaster and a second somewhere nearby that would host the 888 receiver, Whisper Demon receiver, that be GPS discipline. So we want to have a transmit and receive sites along the path, as we did for the October eclipse. So.
Well,
okay.
One of the benefits, I'm not even proposing necessarily that the current beacon blaster that you have be deployed here, but both Dave Larson and Dave Witten and I are within 20 miles of each other. And so a transmitter at one site and receiver at one of the other sites is something that we can set up. In fact, we've already done so.
Yes.
Dave has one of his ZacTech transmitters set up at Dave Witten's house. I have had a Dave ZacTech set up at my house, but I've found that having a ZacTech transmitter, even at 0.2 watts, interferes with reception. So having separate sites so that you're out of the near field, and even a 0.2 watt signal doesn't obliterate your reception, is probably a better solution.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm, if you want to do something, let me see, again, we should, I just want to find good sites, and it looks like, Dave has his already set up, and I think you do pretty well. I haven't looked at you on this top spotters list, Dave, but I don't.
I'm in the right now around 30.
Yeah.
Out of the top spotters, and Michael is usually within 5 or 10 points of where I am. So at his house.
Yeah. We have you've solved the receive side of it because you've got the 888 and I just wanted to, let's see, I was just looking at top spotter to see. Well, anyway, I don't want to do it while we're in this meeting, but I think Steve Serwin, maybe you guys should be others.
I wanted to let Bob in 5 BRG have a say. He looks like he was wanting to talk, and
sure. Tell you, I'm in Texas, and I'll be glad to help you out with whatever I can do.
Okay, well, why don't we then? Okay? Then I just need ideally. I don't know how much you're on the air, but basically, this thing could go on the air. I can set it up with your call sign. You just need a GPS antenna feed, reasonable, something. And 12-volt power, AC power line, and a connection to a multi-band antenna. That's the 3 requirements. And if you have that, you can be on air in half an hour.
So a GPS antenna, an active antenna, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, a little puck. I just need a little puck, but you need your transmit. Yeah, some people have their checks down in the basement in some place where they don't get GPS reception. So that's been a challenge for some of the people I've dealt with. Okay, well, I just need to, Bob, I need to get your contact info, and if you're, I've got have.
I'll send it to you on the chat.
Okay,
So
okay,
this
send it
won't
to me.
this won't interfere with the other grape receivers, I guess. Either way.
Well, I don't know. This thing puts out a watt on each band, so you're not. It's transmitting one of the bands you can transmit on. You can configure the bands, but one of them is the 30-meter band, which isn't far from 10 megahertz WWV. So,
Yeah, that's fine. I
yeah.
think it's going to be low power enough and
Okay.
off frequency enough that it shouldn't.
Well, okay. Well,
Well,
you can try it out, and if it doesn't work for you, maybe Steve sure wanted to be.
Well,
okay.
that is the beacon blaster is simultaneously transmitting on 6 different frequencies. Is that correct?
That's correct. All the time.
Yeah.
Basically, the only time it isn't transmitting is the gaps, the 10-second gap.
All I've observed just anecdotally was running Zactec 0.2 watts when it was cycling through, not simultaneously, but cycling through about 5 different frequencies. When it was transmitting, and I was also trying to receive locally on those frequencies, it wiped out my reception during that 2-minute time frame. So if it's transmitting simultaneously on frequencies, your ability to receive accurately on any of those frequencies is going to be impaired.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be, he's right. And so it's better to, it's best if you're doing reception, you have to have the antenna, several hundred yards away. The receive antenna has to be several hundred yards away from the transmit antenna, or your receiver will be deafened by.
Yeah, I have that situation. It'll be quite a ways away.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then okay. Well, then I mean, it's sitting here under my my bed, ready to go to the next site. So I'll maybe I'll get it off to you. I'm supposed to mail off a few other things this week, so I might ship it off to you this week.
Okay, I'll send you my information in the
Good.
chat.
Good. Well, okay, we got Texas. That's good. Now we need a receive site in Texas. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if your site is really good as here's the trade-off. There's 2 sites. If a site is better as a receive site, then that's the site that ought to be doing reception. And I don't know, unless you have a Kiwi or something, I don't know the quality of your receive site. If you're not without something like that, I don't have a way of establish whether you're better off.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a Kiwi running.
Yeah. So
data to give you to show you the results.
Yeah, that as I've mentioned in previous calls, having a receiver that gives you the full 0 to 30 megahertz spectrum view with the ability to zoom in is just so essential to setting up a receive site. If you don't have that kind of capability, you really have no way of optimizing your receivers and your whole site performance. So hopefully we'll have that. We have somebody I believe working on HBSDR integration with Phil's K9Q. So if and when that becomes available, then you could use the 888 both for whisper reception and for general purpose reception, and have a spectrum, display and waterfall at the same time. So that's the goal.
Could I interrupt a moment?
Yes.
Nathaniel, is the HAMSI workshop considered a project with respect to the survey?
It's considered like time that you've spent on it. You're working on the different projects at the HAMSI workshop.
Yeah, well, like I gave a presentation, but it wasn't on a particular HAMSI project.
You can put that down.
Okay.
And when I see the responses, I'll decide what report it should go on, if it should go on one at all.
Fair enough. And I noticed Phil's on.
Yeah, Phil's on now. So Phil, do you have any comments?
I just got here, another one of these back-to-back meetings in person and Zoom.
I have to thank Phil, since he's representative of the ARDC, I have to thank Phil for the beautiful called at Scranton on Friday.
Okay, beautiful something, but I think I got the context of it. You're welcome.
Yes.
Bob sent a bunch of pictures. You guys look pretty enthusiastic.
Thank you. Did you see the news, the video clip?
Yeah.
Great.
Positive press is always good.
Yes. So yeah, very grateful. Thank you.
Sure. You're gonna put it on the net?
On the net?
Yeah.
Oh, on the internet.
Yeah.
I am working on that. I don't know if you know about the difficulties with institutional IT security these days, but it's
I
like
can imagine.
I'm trying to make it a more hospitable environment for doing those sorts of things, but right now it's let's just say I have a meeting scheduled with the
you're trying.
Yeah, I've got a meeting
I
scheduled with
understand.
the head of IT a week from now. I'm working on it.
Oh, you're working on it.
I
Okay.
can say we're trying to get on the air for sweepstakes this weekend, at least for part of Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Getting some QRM in the background.
Yeah, somebody's talking and
Yeah, I'm at an in-person
Dave,
meeting.
is
They're
your
actually a while
microphone
away.
open? There we go.
oh, okay. So Phil, we wanted to hear from him, but he's in a meeting with somebody else.
Ooh, me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm at a meeting, waiting for it to start, but
Oh, okay.
the idea was to drive here early and then get on this meeting, and then when it ended, get into the other meeting.
Okay.
So what's the question?
Well, if you had any other comments.
Well, I don't know. I just joined the meeting. What's been discussed?
Well, I guess the things you've been doing with K9Q radio recently.
Well, recently it hasn't been a whole lot. I mean, I most recently merged Franco's code for fine tuning the reference the clock into my code. It looked pretty good. Only made one little tweak to it. Franco, if you have no objection, I'll make that mainline code. And
go right ahead.
yeah. So yeah, and I'll use my calibrate entry to calibrate yours. It looked to me like you had commented out the hooks for the air spy. Any particular reason you did that? You just don't have them, or what?
Israel and then probably Taiwan.
Franco? Did you hear the question?
Franco, did you hear the question?
No, I heard about the air spy, but I didn't touch anything there. I mean, at least.
I saw some if-def zeros around with the I think was the hooks in my code.
No, you're not supposed to copy that part. In the main I did it because I don't link the libraries. Yeah, but no, just copy it. Oh, my bad. Yeah, just copy the x88 and that's all.
Okay, I wasn't sure what to get, but yeah, I understood your code.
It's because here I don't have those libraries, so it avoids all those errors.
Yeah. So your code has been tested with
use yours. That part shouldn't be. Yeah.
Okay, so your code has been tested with reference oscillators other than 27 megahertz, like 10 megahertz. It's been tested with that.
That's good. Also,
has it been tested with reference oscillators other than 27 megahertz?
Oh,
like 10?
Not me, because I don't even have an RX88, so I don't even know if it works. I'm surprised.
Okay, well, I guess
it did,
it's up to Rob to try that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. What should I try?
Yeah, the question is whether you've tried Franco's code for using reference oscillators other than 27 megahertz.
I have not. I don't really have a good way to test it, easily test it. I have no antenna here at home, so I can't really do it. And I'd have to drive out to KFS.
Okay, well, I guess I probably could do it. I just have to open mine up and stick in the coax connectors and move the little jumper. Because I have 10 megahertz, I just need to connect it into my 888.
Be good for you to be another GPS disciplined receive site.
Okay.
So it would be.
Of course, so much 10 megahertz already gets into my receiver. I'm tempted to write some code to just phase lock to it and control everything else.
Well, we for our purposes, for the propagation purposes, we really need good quality. I mean, your code to adjust the ppm is, of course, a good idea, but it wouldn't be useful as an alternative to a.
I understand.
Yeah,
but Franco's written the code. It does seem to work very well. So I merged it in.
Yeah,
I mean,
Franco,
I told it exactly how many parts per million off I was, and I put it in, and it seems to be right on. I don't know how far his continued fraction code goes, but it seems to work well.
Well, we have a site to test that kind of stuff, but of course, up at KPH, where I have a GPS discipline transmitter, line of sight to the receiver. But the better place to test this is Glenn Elmore's. Really, he's line of sight to WWV, and but we need some path to actually, we don't really have a way of establishing the frequency of WWV.
Well, put it this way: his code seems to be accurate enough to get me down below the short-term phase noise of the TCXO, and I guess that's good enough.
Well, that's great.
I mean, I'm watching the phase of my own PLL inside the receiver wandering around, and it's what I'm saying is the error is smaller than that. So
yeah.
I have a question about that, about the utility of the GPSDO on receive. I think there are probably people who are disciplining their receivers. I know I am. That the receiver that I'm using to do whisper decode on several of the HF whisper frequencies is disciplined. Do you need to know, or is it of any benefit for you to know, not just the fact that I'm doing it, but in general, which stations are disciplined?
I'm putting together such a database. At the moment, it isn't. It's useful for reception of FST4W packets, because the decoder is, if you're running Whisper Daemon enables a feature of the JT9 decoder that's used to decode FST4W, and it will output a spectral spreading number in millihertz and tell you with a millihertz resolution and accuracy. If you have GPS, that will tell you the spreading, and from the spreading you can determine the Doppler shift of the transmitted, if the transmitter, of course, is also disciplined. So we have a network of transmitters and receivers that are so disciplined, and it'd be great to have you as part of it. But in order for that extra spreading information, Doppler shift information, there's no place to store it in WhisperNet. WhisperNet even throws away the 10th of a hertz resolution of the transmit frequency. It only stores 1 hertz resolution. So we have an extended database of Whisper Daemon. So if a Whisper Daemon sites upload both to WhisperNet with its 1 hertz resolution and upload this extended version of the same spots to a Whisper Daemon database server, and that database includes not only the higher resolution of the received frequency, to resolution of a 10th of a hertz, but it also includes the spreading information and some other information.
So it would be best for me to transition from using KA9Q with Whisper Decoder to Whisper Daemon if I have an RX 888 with GPSDO.
Yes, that's what our other sites are doing, and I'd be happy to help you make that transition.
So, Rob, Michael and I are what, 20 miles apart?
Mm-hmm.
Will that be helpful, or
who knows? You never know what you learn. So,
Yes.
so if you, there's plenty of space to store your data.
Yep.
And Gwen, who's G3ZIL, is the one who's really doing the data analytics part of us so far, work. And he's uncovered interesting observations from
Yes.
the eclipse and elsewhere from these extended spots recordings that we've been storing for now years, actually. So
I believe Michael is still using the whisper decoded from Phil. He did not upgrade that.
No.
Phil doesn't upload, so the Phil's code just decodes and leaves in all whisper.txt. Yeah. So if you're
well, I have a separate script that uploads it to whispernet.org, but as you say, it really doesn't include the detailed information that I have by virtue of the discipline. So if Whisper Daemon takes advantage of that, and then, you know, as we said, Dave Witten, Dave Larson, and I, we have 3 sites that are within 20 miles of each other, roughly. If we can figure out a way to combine good quality reception site and a good quality transmission site that's also disciplined, we may be in a position to provide some both high quality disciplined transmissions as well as high quality disciplined receptions. So
yeah, well, it's always good to have a pair, a line of sight pair of transmitters, disciplined transmitters and receivers, because that validates the hardware and software environments. And we've done that out here. We use a beacon blaster at Paul Elliott, WV6CXE, who makes the beacon blasters. His California home is on a ridge that is line of sight to KPH. And so we can use that path, and KPH has a 888, which is a Bogner disciplined. So we use that path, the transmit receive pair, to validate our hardware and our software environments. And you can also learn interesting things about NVIS and multipath, and all kinds of other stuff happens that you hadn't really considered before in detail, but you certainly can see it though. So yeah, you guys sound like a great locus for another one, and another pair. So you're supplying the 888s, GPS disciplines 888s, so we ought to get you a beacon blaster 6. And now
if it's not one of the 6s, it could, you know, for the next eclipse in April, at least it'll be one that can just sort of be on, you know, on a regular basis, one of the 8s.
Okay, well, we don't have those yet, and but Paul's been most generous with lending them, really. So far, Paul has been lending. We've sold one. One of them is on its way to the South Pole. Well, not at South Pole, Antarctica, to be installed in January at DP0 GHV or whatever it is. So
we also can do site surveys and things. We have Kiwis. We have. I just ordered a spectrum analyzer today.
Yeah.
And so forth.
Well, good. Well, you guys sound like it would be good to get. Okay, so I should. Yeah, I need. I can ship. Let me, when I get the second one back, or maybe I'll send this one first to you guys. And when I should be getting my second beacon blaster back from the other the loaner site, hopefully this week or next. So anyway, I'll get that. That one goes off, and the third one is, I have to remember now where they all are. Anyway, we have 3 of them that are candidates to go out. So
yeah.
So it may be interjected briefly. One of the enhancements that's happened is that Ryan Holboom, whose call I forget, who's at New Jersey Institute of Technology, did publish a couple of weeks ago a version of Whisper D decoding, the Whisper D decoder from JTX. And this version outputs the spectral spreading information, similar to the information output by JT9 for 4Ws. So I'm hoping that we can convert all the beacon blasters. We need to validate that Paul's code and the decoders all work as we believe they do. In other words, we should get the same spreading information from whether it's a Whisper or 4W transmission. We should get the same information. But we haven't validated that. We'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. But when that happens, I think that we're going to convert all of the beacon blasters over to Whisper mode. But we need to document who's all of the GPS discipline transmitters. We need to, because spreading information from arbitrary Whisper transmitters isn't really useful at all. It's you don't know how much of the Doppler shift came from the ionosphere and how much from the transmitter. But I think that it'll be helpful to the community at large if there are GPS disciplined Whisper transmitters, so that there's a little more exposure and incentive to deploy these things. I mean, Paul can make these things. The Beacon Blaster 8s, he could make them, and in fact, we've even thought it might be something that Tapper might consider offering, because Paul's really not in the manufacturing, distribution, and customer support business. So let's see what.
Maybe we can talk to John about this too.
Yeah. Let's finish one project to get him finish Gert and get Gert going, and
yes,
one at a time. Yeah, Glenn has even another project. He has a transverter that goes 0 through 2 gigahertz transverter that is GPS disciplined, and that's another project. It actually works very well with the TRX Duo. So.
Unfortunately, I have to go do my on the hour chores, so I'm going to say 73.
Okay. So somebody needs to give me a shipping address among you. The three of you. I think I have Dave Whitten's address. I think I shipped him a low pass filter, right? So
yes.
Yeah. You got what you need from me?
Dave, Dave has UPS trucks daily.
Well, which are the best? Who is most likely to use it? I should go directly to the person that most likely.
We'll get it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Okay, send me an email and tell me where you want to ship this thing in.
Okay.
Okay. So, Phil, I'm sorry, I've been out of touch a bit. I've just been with Sandy fell down the stairs last Thursday, and I had to red eye it back here. So it's she's fine. She's fine, but no broken bones or contusions, concussions, or just a lot of bruises and skin wounds. So the best of a bad fall down the stairs. So best outcome one could expect.
Okay. Oh, one other thing is regarding my embarrassing mistake on the overcount counter. I mean, that's working, and I certainly do see overcount count almost always when I transmit locally.
Oh, okay. So let me go look at KPH and see if I'm getting them. See,
you'll see maybe if.
Oh, wait a second! I have to get your latest code because I don't. Yeah. I have to.
But the bug was a control.c, so the counts were actually being made and actually were being sent over the network. They just weren't being displayed properly by the control program.
Yeah, I just have the thing is
I just bought an Icom 7300. I mean, it's like the first time I transmitted from this place in years. So naturally, the count goes up a lot when I transmit, as I would expect. as you would
That's-
expect.
That's okay. Well, let's see. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, I'm running your October 25th detective the
no, go newer
overreach,
than
and that's that, and it needs to be okay. So if I do, I can.
Yeah, go newer than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was rather pessimistic. I made that a 64-bit counter, so even though I don't think you'll ever use it.
Oh.
And I should get out of here soon. The people are
Okay.
arriving for this meeting.
Okay.
And Six Size W's microwave meeting.
Okay. Well, we'll be in touch. I'll be around. You're around, and we're working on stuff this week, Phil.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
planning to go
okay.
anywhere as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I'll be here myself.
All right. See you guys.
Okay. Anyone else that we can?
I have a couple of comments about the Clementine related.
Yes. How are you doing?
Well, I've finally got time to dig into it, and I'm plugging along. There's some decisions about which, well, after the first, I've got kind of a overlapping stream of things coming from China and whatnot, but but at some point, I'll have to decide about some of the, like attenuator, filter, other components that are a little out of my, comfort zone. I'll need some advice on those. And I need to go back. I should have to some of the new next gen SDR discussion about the differences between the some of the components used in the RX 888 and the some of the ones that that Oscar had worked with, and also to see if anyone else has better ideas. But one thing I'm encountering is that there are not very many LTC 2208s out there. The core ADC chip. They're there, but and they're pricey. Like going about, give or take, around $200 a pop. And when I finally reserve some to have something built around one, I'm going to probably have to commit to at least 5 of them at once. Also, the LTC 6400 preamp, I guess it's a preamp that's on there, it's not cheap. I did buy some today, I think. But they're nothing like the ADC is. But really, I'm doing well to find, sometimes DigiKey has some, sometimes Mouser has some, sometimes Element 14 UK has some parts, but most everybody else doesn't have LTC 2208s. There are lots of 2208 14s, but the straight 2208, which is the 16-bit part, is scarcer. I don't know where they're going.
How much are they charging for them?
Pardon? Somewhere between $190 and $220 a piece.
They go on AliExpress, they sell them at $15 each.
Where?
AliExpress.
AliExpress? Well, I'll be happy to look. I can't get the Fab House to use those, I suspect.
Then I don't know. Yeah. Because if you go on AliExpress, they sell them at $15-20 each. So if you buy 10, they cost you as much as one of the other ones.
Okay, I'll look at that. I'll buy some probably just just to see what they are. But I
Well,
would have
usually
I
if
would be
they're made
nervous.
if they're sourced in China, the fab house, if it's in China, would probably be okay with it because they're looking
Yeah.
for parts sourced from China.
Okay, well, if it is in China, that's true. That's true, but it's not. Yeah, you can do consignment parts that way, is the way JLC PCB talks about it. It's not the standard way. Yeah, but if it is in China, then maybe I can. Yeah.
And then it's probably a Chinese knockoff of the part too, so the performance may not be the same, or you've got some possibilities of differences.
Guys, what do you think those RX they have inside? The $150 chip or the $15 chip?
Yeah.
I mean, all the
This
guys,
may
all
account
the,
for
huh?
this may account for some of the RX 888s not working.
Yeah, well, that's right. If 9 out of 10 work and one doesn't work, okay, why is still you lost $15, not 150? I'm yet to see that way.
Right. The other thing is that there do seem to be temperature grades of these as well, though it's not described very much. And like I've seen ones that were listed with an industrial temp grade versus a
I get the consumer one, the CUPs, they're cheaper.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't get the military one because they charge it on the leg, and you're not the DoD, so you don't need.
Sure. Well, I haven't been to like at least the last few times I've looked in, which is mostly in the last week. I haven't seen a wide range of options. Of course, there's no great rush at the moment for those. I'm still testing with the other approach using the boards, using the demo boards that plug in. But just down the road, I need to be looking at that. And yeah, there's at least two other components that should be that we'll want to at least think about. One is probably everybody seems to use the LTC 6400 preamp or whatever it is, RF front, but still there might be others. And the other question is about the how he selects the attenuator. I purchased some that are used an Xperia chip. It's something in the standard fancy TTL kind of chip that he used in the HF 104, 103, but they're not expensive. It's just which one to use. There's like Peregrine or some other manufacturers that specialize in some of that too. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I just wanted to say that I will be wanting to talk to somebody or other interested parties about these things. So some of you might hear from me on those accounts.
Yeah, my experience, has been with the units that we're deploying. We've been working on establishing, comparing the 888 against the Kiwi, and we, in several ways, seem to have established that the 888 is less sensitive. It has a higher noise figure, about 5 dB higher noise figure than the Kiwi, and that at all of the sites that we're working with, that the problem is not overloading. The problem, we haven't seen it that we've known yet. That the problems have been is lack of sensitivity or the need for external LNAs.
What is the Kiwi? What does it use for an ADC?
I use this 14-bit. I think it's the 2208-14. There's very little difference in performance between the 14-bit and 16-bit in the real world.
Well, the 14-bit chips are much more available.
Well, I would we don't yet have enough experience, but I mean, there's no site that where we're running right now where the AAA detects more signals than the Kiwi.
But
Now that may be because we haven't yet given enough gain, especially.
Well, I was going to say, Rob, is the gain in front of the ADC the same in both receivers, or?
Well,
is it
they same feed the same split, passively split the RF and send it to the Kiwi.
Yeah, but
and
is the ADC giving the same output?
The ADC the ADC we haven't been able to fully characterize the gain structure inside the 888 yet.
Yeah, because it could be totally a matter of how much gain is in front of the ADC.
Well, Clint K70EI has verified that he's gone through and walked through and measured the noise figure as you instruct the programmable gain amplifier in the 888. As you increase its gain, the noise figure gets better until you set it for a gain of 20 dB, which is actually the same, the gain of the fixed amplifier in the Kiwi. It has a 20 dB gain. It's a different amplifier. It's the Kiwi's RF amplifier is fixed gain 20 dB.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, the 888 has a programmable gain amplifier, which can be programmed up to 35 plus 35 dB of gain. But since we didn't know when we were overloading the A to D, I've tried at KPH and I ran the gain all the way up from I think 15 plus 15 up through plus 35, and once I got to 20 dB of gain in the 888, the spot counts between the two, the Kiwi and the 888, converged. That the number of spots each of them decoded was basically the same, within 1%.
Okay.
So, and this is we're recording 50,000 spots a day at KPH sometimes, and so the test environment is statistically pretty good. You get a lot of spots. It is interesting to me, as an aside, that if you have two identical Kiwis and run given the same RF and run them both their wave file recordings into WhisperD, that you will get a different set of spots from each of them. Not small difference, not entirely, but surprisingly, it's surprising. There seems to be an element of randomness in the decoding process, and it isn't low signal levels that are missing. It will be a +2. Will be on one Kiwi will pick up a +2, and the other one won't. Whisper Demon won't report it at all. It's weird, and I think deserves some. Maybe Phil understands why this happens. But
well, I see that happening with FT8 also.
Yeah, I don't understand why there's this element of randomness, and which has led me to think there should be an experiment of just running the same wave file through WhisperD multiple times to see if you always get the same set of, I've never done this, same set of spots out of it, because the differences between two Kiwis that are receiving the same RF sitting right next to each other in a rack, it mystifies me. So there's experiments that one could do that I haven't had time to do myself. So it's
well, there's always, of course, the analog noise that's going to get in the way. But if you're saying it's at +2 and one's catching it and one isn't, I think there may be some noise in the algorithm, so to speak.
Phil would know better than I.
Doesn't always catch the beginning of the
yeah, I know it doesn't seem to. So does that suggest that multiple passes of running WhisperD, multiple passes might gain you spots that you wouldn't otherwise? I guess we can throw infinite amounts of CPU power at decoding. Phil has said that the modulation technique used in Whisper is one that is very inefficient in terms of CPU utilization. And if you ever watch it, I mean, it can take, decoding spots out of a Whisper packet can take you 10, 15, 20 CPU seconds. And the JT9, it'll run in 2 seconds. It's either easily 10 times, if not 100 times faster at decoding. And I gather that's because there's differences in the modulation technique that allows the decoder to be much more deterministic. I don't know this part of it. This is a part of the process I don't understand, but it's interesting.
I see Franco's put one of the AliExpress sources for the 2208 in. I did a quick search, and yeah, if you find them for $150 and you find them for $15, and this one's half that. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm on there too. And yeah, they're all over the map.
Well, I suppose maybe we get some of these. I presume they're Chinese knockoffs, and at least see what their performance looks like.
I think they're recycled. I thought many of
that
UPs.
Could be, yeah,
not CUPs or IUPs.
Yeah, I noticed that the Red Pataya clone says that they're using recycled chips because they can't get some of them.
Well, I think I've even seen the indications. I don't know. I don't know whether it was the Jing, what's his name?
I do know that the Chinese knockoff Analog Devices chips. I was actually involved with that at one point.
Yeah, well, the main thing is
working for Analog.
Having someone who will actually solder them onto a board for me, because this is not something I can do myself. I have been trying.
Are these ball grid or are they just chip scale?
Actually, they look like they're MLC or something.
Yeah, I forget what the. Let's see. I have the data sheet up here.
Yeah, like I'm looking at some. Well, they have both.
Yeah, it's a QFN package.
QFN. That's what I'm.
So those aren't that hard to solder.
Well,
they
don't go well for me.
You have to talk to Oscar in Italy because I think he's 72 or 3 and he built something to solder those chips himself, with some kind of magnification or whatever he did. Actually, if you look in his blog, it's interesting he tells you what he did to do the microscope to solder those LTCs, those ADCs.
I can see
64-pin QFN with 9 millimeters on the side. That's pretty fine pitch.
I can see just fine. I just can't. I just can't get a reliable. Can't reliably do a lot of these small pitch packages below a certain level.
We actually have a reflow oven.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and I don't. I only have contrivances, and
you just have to get a toaster oven.
A toast. I've got things that are a lot better than toaster ovens, but I just don't. It all doesn't quite. What happens? I'm still having trouble with magnetometers.
But on the other hand, there are a lot of houses out there that are more than happy to assemble it.
Really? Okay. Well, can I get everything soldered on except one or two chips like that, and then have somebody else do?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're willing to do that.
They'll do whatever you tell them to.
Yeah. Because sometimes
I sometimes use turnkey houses. We usually build ours in the house, but I've also built more complex boards. Sending them out.
I'll be 70 in April, and there's more than a little essential tremor. Not as my brother, but but there's an awful lot of tremor there. But I can control most of that. I'm just frustrated as it gets still. I could do it for a while and then they stopped.
But yeah, there are a lot of assembly houses really chomping at the bit for work. So
I know it's a it's a dog
every
eat
time I
dog
send
business.
out a PC board, they try to have it, try to do the assembly for me.
Yeah, they're hungry. They've got equipment to amortize.
Yeah, well, advanced circuits, which I use a lot, they're
Which one?
always asking, can we build these for you?
Who is that?
Advanced circuits.
Advanced. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, they always seem very like
What's
a.
funny is right next to them is advanced assembly, and I have to wonder, are these the same guys or
Oh, I'm sure they are. That's the same
two
thing with.
guys competing?
That's the same thing with JLC, and it's a distribution warehouse, it's a board fab place, and it's an assembly center, and they've got 3D and other stuff close by. So it's and they're trying to all get in and machine, 3D machining and CNC and everything else, and they're trying to sell everything. But I guess that's where the future of those things are. But right now, I've bumbled through the process with JLC enough to get fairly complex. I know where the buttons are that are supposed to say, "Okay, pay for this." They're not where you'd expect them to be most of the time. There's often some corner, but I'm getting pretty good at it.
One thing about it, if you decide to go off to an assembly house, you have to be a lot more detailed in your information and instructions.
Yeah.
They need to know every little
It
detail.
really doesn't take that much because much of it is in the PC board files.
Well, it is
All
a
the
lot there,
placement
but
is there, and then you just have to give them a good clean bill of materials, and they'll even go out and buy the parts for you.
yeah, that's all true. But my experience has been that there's always a lot of little detailed questions, and you don't just get there. It depends on how many parts. I've got a board out right now that has 300 parts on it, and it's like $2,000 for assembly. It took a lot of back and forth to, some of it was errors from KiCad that, KiCad dropped a pad off of one of my via holes, for instance, in one case. But everything is a little bit of a challenge, and it just takes more time. Whereas if you're doing it yourself at home, you see an issue and you just make a quick decision and adjust it. But you're dealing with people that don't know anything about the board. They just know what you've given them and what parts to put where. So you have to go from that. But I know about 3 assembly houses in the Dallas area, and if you have a major area there close by, I bet you have a assembly house in that area too. If you could poke around, if you want to be able to drive over and sit down with the people and work with them. But I've worked with 4 PCB for over 20 years too, and those guys are good in Colorado.
Yeah,
so
that's advanced circuits.
Advanced circuits, right?
No, I've had them assemble things for us. I've also had some local houses that we have here, the New Hampshire, Vermont area.
The sales guy used to come by and see me all the time when he was working.
Right.
I seem to be in kind of a desert. A lot of that stuff packed up. I can go to Chicago or Denver, but it doesn't make any difference. But
no, it really doesn't.
But
yeah, they're
everything
interested in assembly because there's not as much PC board shop work anymore, and so they're trying to find a way to keep busy.
When McDonnell Douglas and Boeing shut down in St. Louis, electronics in this part of the world disappeared. Even the ham stuff is not what it once was. But well, I will be more than willing to accept any and all advice when I come to that point. I spent enough money for one day, but I've always had a thing where I can only spend so much in a day. It doesn't matter whose money, but
It's a
and
constitutional thing.
yes, yeah, it's something. I used to buy supplies once a month for a lab that I worked at.
On the noise comparison between the Kiwi and these other systems, I would look carefully at your power supply. Your noise can come from the power supply, and then your grounding is very important. And then the front end, how you did the preamp or the LNA on the front versus the Kiwi. I think on the Kiwi, the fella did a really nice job on all that. Probably has it pretty much perfected.
Yeah, the thing with the
higher
RX-888 is
temperature.
that a programmable gain amp, and it
Yeah.
may be a little higher noise than the dedicated amp on the Kiwi.
Yeah,
Well,
you're running at a higher temperature, and that's always going to lead to more noise. So if the clocking rates are different between the chips.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about the differences there, and it might be that you run for the 888 with an external preamp to override its inherent noise.
These are all questions. That's why I've been working on this, is so that you all can debate those things and
Right.
and
Yeah, and
make up
definitely let me
your-
know if you have questions on the filtering and attenuators and such.
I will. I have especially been meaning to write you, but just lately things came to a stop for a week or two, and
Sure.
just picking up again.
Yeah, in my experience, I don't, we've never used the attenuator. I can't envision using it. I mean, it just, if you need an attenuator in front of a AAA, you've got serious other problems.
Yeah, you're in the
If-
wrong environment.
Yeah, you're not in an environment where you're going to be receiving anything. So, in my perspective, you could drop that without any that attenuator without affecting its usefulness of the
Speaking of
AAA.
environment, Nathaniel, I'm wondering whether you're going to find you need a broadcast band reject filter in your ham shack.
On campus?
Yeah, because you're staring right at the I forget
the
the call
Times-
sign, but you're staring
Yeah,
right at that AM
at the
broadcast
Times
station.
Tribune. Yeah, I don't know. I know on the higher bands at least, we had an excellent signal to noise ratio, and that was very good. So
Yep.
I haven't really looked down the lower bands yet.
Yeah, you may have a little interference on 160 meters.
Yeah, we weren't planning on putting up a 160-meter antenna there.
Okay.
We were just going down to 80.
Yep. That's great. You're on the air.
It worked out beautifully. It's so nice. Yeah, I worked Germany on 10 meters this morning.
Oh,
So-
that's cool.
Yeah, so now what I have to do is I think, as I said, I think we're going to try to get on for a sweepstakes on Saturday. It's just yeah, I have to just do a little planning, get some students up there, and now it's a matter of training the students up and actually showing them what to do and getting them to do it.
Yeah, speaking of Europe, I keep trying to hear Dave Kasten's 10-meter beacon. He's got one on 28-240. I've never been able to hear it, but I hear one coming in from Italy all the time. Go figure. Must be where I am.
I don't know. Yeah, no, we're very excited to have it. So they still have to hook up the low band antennas, the 40 and the 80. I think they still need to hook up the
Are those
VHF,
going to be
UHF.
dipoles?
Yeah, fan dipoles. Then we've got VHF, UHF satellite. I think you have to finish putting the jumpers on the radios for. I need to get IT to do some work. The computers hooked up. They're there, but I can't log into them yet. They need an Ethernet cable, and they need IT to do some additional things to them. And yeah. So, but we have a new repeater. So there's a repeater on campus now. That's nice.
That's
And
good.
yeah, and I think that's going to be really nice too, because it's a great way to get students involved sooner rather than later, because it's always nice to say to someone, oh yeah, you can get your technician license, and then they're like, well, what radio do you get? And so I can say, yeah, you can get your technician license and you can buy a cheap Bofang, and you can actually do something useful and talk to your other friends on campus right away. So and then and then we can get them up to the shack to use the fancier stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna say 73 for tonight.
Very good.
Me too, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Later.
Nathaniel?
Yeah.
I'm a little uncertain about this AGU poster presentation. I haven't heard from them, and I don't really know how to proceed to prepare for it, or if in fact I've registered and paid for it. So I'm a little in the dark there. What's I got one.
I think in terms of I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah.